Celebrating 42 seasons on the air, Farmweek is a production of Mississippi State University Extension. Today on Farmweek, dairy farmers push the USDA for greater economic relief. One of them explains just how important it may be. A bit of good news on opioid addiction in rural America, though the crisis is still a monumental challenge. Gary Bachman says it's time to plant those fall bedding plants. And last week you met the logger of the year. This week, find out who takes top honors as tree farmer. Farmweek starts right now.
Hello everyone, I'm Leighton Spann.
And I'm Mike Russell. Thanks for being with us today on Farm Week. The National Milk Producers Federation says dairy farmers are hurting economically and need increased aid to weather a financial storm made worse by the trade war. Chairman Randy Mooney made public a letter he wrote to Ag Secretary Sonny Perdue. In that letter he wrote, in part, we applaud your desire to aid farmers through USDA's tariff mitigation program. However, our members are greatly concerned about the level of aid that was provided in the initial effort. Estimates show that farmer losses will notably exceed $1 billion in 2018. As farmers, we appreciate the President's sincere desire to help. Still, the USDA's approach has resulted in only $127 million in market facilitation payments on 1/2 of our annual production. We are eager to work with you on a plan that better reflects the struggles dairy producers across the country have faced due to the tariffs. No reaction to that letter yet, but I happened to see a tweet from Lorraine Lewandowski, a fourth-generation dairy farmer who's also a well-known lawyer and farmer advocate. In that tweet, she wrote, spoke to another farmer this morning who was thinking of putting dairy cows in auction, pay down some of the debt, work 2 off-farm jobs to save the land. I reached out to Lewandowski in New York and we chatted about the kinds of challenges dairy farmers are having to face in New York State.
As far as dairy goes, I don't know the specifics of what National Milk is asking for, but I don't know if relief can come fast enough for some of these people. If you're losing money every single day keeping the cows, maybe it's better to put the cows in the auction right now, but then that means the end of a milk check and inability to make payments, then liquidating the farm machinery. So dairy farmers are at a very difficult crossroads right now. The bailout money supposedly would help, but it's only amounting to a couple $100 on the first round of payments for the farms. A couple of $100, like barely would, here in the Northeast, it's cold, barely buy you a tank of heating oil to be warm for the winter. So here we are in the shadow of the Northeast corridor of 24 million people, and we can't seem to survive.
Lewandowski says her own farm's about 100 years old. She says she gets a lot of calls from other farmers trying to figure out how to survive the low milk prices and lack of income. We'll follow up on the letter to the USDA. In the meantime, follow us on Facebook for more of what Lewandowski told me in our conversation.
Rural Americans face many of the same problems as their urban counterparts. One of them is the fight against opioid addiction. This week, President Trump sent reinforcements to those on the front lines of what he has labeled a nationwide public health emergency.
Narcan, verified.
Those fighting the battle against opioid misuse disorder received good news this week as a positive report from the Centers for Disease Control was combined with a new law aimed at supporting those on the front lines of the epidemic. Secretary of Health and Human Services Alex Azar announced mortality rates from opioid overdose have slowed this year. His statement was based on a new CDC study showing opioid deaths had decreased in correlation with an introduction of advanced treatment options and easier access to anti-overdose drugs. According to the study, the increase in the number of opioid overdose deaths declined from a growth rate of 10% in 2017 to just 3% in 2018. Officials with the CDC were only able to estimate the number of deaths in this year due to a time lag between reporting and data compilation. The federal agency has also provided additional ammunition for those pushing back against OMD by infusing $1 billion into ongoing treatment initiatives. While the news was seen as a win for those fighting the nation's worst opioid epidemic in history, there were still 50,000 fatalities from opioid overdoses last year alone. President Trump's signing of the Support for Communities and Patients Act this week will reinforce those fighting against the opioid misuse disorder. The legislation provides new resources for treatment and works to curb the amount of opioids coming across the border and over the counter. At the counter, pharmacists are filling opioid prescriptions with fewer pills in an attempt to keep excess medications out of the illicit drug supply line. The legislation further expands support for treatment facilities by expanding Medicaid coverage to addicts who are in treatment. The measure also gives the judicial system new tools, allowing the courts to send addicts to treatment centers instead of jail. The slowdown in opioid-related mortality rates and continued support from the Trump administration is seen as a bit of good news in the ongoing battle against the disease. But with 3 out of 5 drug overdose deaths related to opioids, those who are helping the nation's 10 million addicts see a long road ahead.
We know how long the show
For Market
is.
to Market, I'm John Torpy.
In gardening, here's something you may not know. All pansies are violas, but not all violas are pansies. There are some similarities, but both are great for fall planting. Here's Gary Bachman with the colorful story.
The growers are getting ready for a busy fall season. So what should you plant? In my opinion, pansies and violas. Matrix pansies have quickly become one of the leading cool season bedding plants. There is a wide range of colors available. Many have the traditional blotch, sometimes known as being faced. This is the dark coloration of the lower flower petals. A really attractive group of matrix flowers have the clear colors. These flowers don't have a blotch and really flash pure color. In my opinion, matrix pansies are the best for gardeners in Mississippi. These pansies have freely branching growth habits and will be about 8 inches tall and wide. When massed together, as pansies were meant to be planted, they create an impressive, colorful landscape carpet. My other favorite fall bedding plant is the viola, but most gardeners I know call them by their common name, Johnny Jump Up. Violas are good choices for both landscape and containers. The penny citrus mix is a prolific flower producer. Flower colors include cream, orange, primrose, yellow, and yellow frost. I really like the penny azure, which is a gorgeous white and bright blue flower with purple streaks. Sorbet violas look great mass planted, like the sunny sorbet yellow, or colorful sorbet orange, or the blinding bright sorbet white. There are really nice multicolors like sorbet jump up mix as well. The viola can easily thrive from Thanksgiving all the way through Easter. Pansy or viola, whichever you choose, I know you won't be disappointed. I'm horticulturist Gary Bachman, and I'll see you next time on Southern Gardening.
Time now for the markets with Leighton. Still no resolution of that trade flap with China.
No, not yet, Mike, but we are going to hear one trader's optimistic view of how that situation might end. Also ahead this week, as we begin a new month, an uptrend in corn prices is declared to be intact. A surprise in the cattle on feed report helps support beef prices, while freezers are full of lots of chicken these days. We begin with U.S. soybeans, where weekly export numbers continue to show the negative impact of China's tariffs. John Roach thinks the oilseeds could be stuck in the same trading range through the upcoming winter, but he maintains optimism about a resolution with China.
We have to get the crop put away. Once it's put away, we're going to have to find out the price level that it takes to get it back out again. What will farmers want? What will they wait for? And that will really determine how far the price can come up. And we've got another thing we really have to keep in mind here, and that's that we're acting as if we've lost the Chinese business forever. I'm of the opinion personally that the likelihood is the Chinese will put together a deal before the midterm election because that's their best time to negotiate. I think that's going to be the biggest key that's coming along, is when we finally get a deal with China.
Over in the corn market, Ted Seifert maintains there is an upward trend for those prices and that it is still intact as November begins. He says any bumps along the way are simply the result of harvest pressure from other regions of the country. Ted, in fact, is positive about what happens the remainder of this year.
I think what we're seeing is a bit of harvest pressure as guys are moving corn more so off the combine this year than in most years, because we're really trying to hold on to soybeans as tightly as we can, hoping that some sort of deal gets done with China and we get to sell our beans $1 higher. So I do think there's still going to be a little bit more pressure, harvest pressure on corn here, and I still see corn prices potentially moving higher through now and the end of the year.
Well, we're going to move to the trivia quiz next, and let's look at this week's question. It's about an important row crop. What is considered the best grade of cotton? Is the answer A, good middling, B, strict middling, C, middling, or D, strict good ordinary? We'll have that answer coming up in a moment.
We'll take a quick break, but don't go away. Coming up on our Farm Week feature, it's a story of respect and longevity. Nearly 1.5 million truckloads of lumber came out of Mississippi forests in 2017. Forests cover 65% of the state. Next time on Farm Week, a man who helps make all that possible. He's the 2018 Outstanding Tree Farmer of the Year, as passionate about tree farming as he is history, and there's plenty of that to talk about. All that and much more coming up on Farm Week.
At Mississippi State University, Extension is reaching beyond the college campus and impacting adult education. We're instructing agricultural professionals on the latest trends in research and technology, inspiring communities, empowering small businesses, and promoting the growth of healthy families where youth and adults can reach their fullest potential.
The MSU Extension Service, sharing our vision for the future.
Before we get back to the market report, let's take a look at the Farm Week calendar. First, the MSU Row Crop Short Course, December 3rd through the 5th at the Cotton Mill Conference Center in Starkville. This conference is packed with presentations on entomology, plant pathology, ag economics, and more. Registration is free before November 27th and includes all meals, snacks, and drinks. Full information is online at extension.msstate.edu or call Kathy Johnson at 662-325-2701. Next, from January 8th through the 10th in New Orleans, it's the Belt-Wide Cotton Conferences. This is another packed convention on current research and emerging technology to improve production, processing, and marketing efficiency. Conferences include cover crop initiatives, new products, pest management, just to name a few. For more info and to register, visit the conference website at cotton.org/beltwide. Now check out this week's Farm Week Snapshot.
The latest snapshot of the U.S. farm-raised catfish industry is out. Processor sales in September were up from 1 year ago. Here are all the numbers for you. U.S. producers received a pond bank price of 97 cents per pound for the premium size live fish. Now that's 9 cents per pound less than a year ago. Farm sales totaled just over 29 million pounds round weight, an increase of 4% from 2017. Processor sales were almost 14.5 million pounds. That's up 5% from a year ago. It is a positive story in the latest cattle on feed report, and it is definitely a surprise for the trade. Fewer head of cattle were placed into U.S. feedlots in September. Placements were over 4.5% lower than the same period a year ago, and they totaled about 2 million head of cattle. Extension's Josh Maple says initial market reaction was positive and for good reason.
This report, and really all we're trying to do with all of these reports, is get an estimate as to the total supply of cattle. And so I really think this report gives us a little indication that maybe supply won't be quite as big as we expected. It's still going to be large, and it's still going to be larger than last year. But you put this report together with some other ones, and long term we start to maybe adjust our cattle supply number down slightly compared to what we thought ahead of time.
So you may be saying there could be fewer calves out there than people were thinking?
Yes, so not fewer calves than last year. This is a hard story to tell because we've still got large supplies and we've still got larger supplies than we had last year. But maybe those supplies aren't quite as larger than we expected, and so that story really plays into giving us a little bit of market strength as we react to this new information.
So this is always an important report for the cattle industry, but how does this figure into looking at the overall supply picture?
So if we look at the overall supply picture, we start out our baseline as those USDA cattle inventory reports that come out in January and July. And then throughout the year, as we get more information through these cattle on feed reports and through some market receipts and other factors, we're really just trying to update our expectations on supply. And so if we look at this one and we also look at the number of heifers in the mix and the number of steers in the mix, we really start to see a story of continued lower weight placements, and so that's going to adjust our timing a little bit. And then the heifer in the mix is interesting because that's suggesting that we're putting more heifers into the feedlots, maybe not retaining quite as many on the farm. Put it all together and we're really looking at a fairly flat cow herd going into next year and especially going into 2020.
While the cattle supply number may be coming down, stocks of chicken are still up in the U.S. according to one measure. The government's monthly cold storage report puts the total stocks of chicken in the nation's freezers up 17% from this same time last year. Looking at other protein, frozen beef is also up, but less than 5%. Pork stocks were low and down from 2017. Pork bellies, on the other hand, the important component of products such as bacon, were up big time, 45%. To wrap up the markets, let's see how you did with the trivia question this week. What is considered the best grade of cotton? The answer is A, good middling. Inspectors look at the strength, the staple length, the color, the smoothness, and the uniformity to determine the grade of cotton. Mississippi's Tree Farmer of the Year was announced a couple of weeks ago during the Forestry Association's annual meeting in Tupelo. To say that the 2018 winner is passionate about forestry is an understatement. He allows a community college to use his tree farm as a teaching lab for forestry students throughout the year. The winner also loves to share the colorful history of the timber industry in his area of the state with any audience, and he does so often. Our feature story this week takes us to Jones County near the DeSoto National Forest. Ovett, Mississippi is southeast of Laurel off of Highway 15. In the early 20th century, it was a thriving sawmill town. Those days are a distant memory, but the tree farm of E.J. Dennis in Ovett holds some of that history.
We had 7 sawmills in this vicinity, in this close area. Behind me was a huge sawmill, one of the largest in the area, Bentley Emery sawmill. When they moved in, they built 50 homes, so that'll tell you how many people they worked, and stayed here from about 1915 to about 1930.
Retired educator E.J. Dennis is passionate about history and passionate about his tree farm. He and his wife Kay live in nearby Ellisville. He inherited this land in Ovett 15 years ago. Mr. Dennis's father bought the property in 1950 with something else in mind besides trees.
My daddy was wanted to go in the cattle business. He loved agriculture and wanted to get a large number of cattle, so he bought 160 acres here, about 120 acres near the National Forest, and as our cattle grew, we leased land from 16 section land. But then in the 80s, as he got older, my sister and I were doing different things. He began to sell some of the cattle, and gradually in the early 80s started planting timber. So we've got timber as old as 32, 33 years old, and this on my left is the youngest timber, about 5 years old.
The youngest timber is 6 acres of longleaf pine seedlings planted in 2013. Other recent management work includes the thinning of 17 acres of loblolly pine on the place. A 2-acre public cemetery and the access road to it splits the tree farm property in half. The cemetery was established long before the family purchased the land. E.J. Dennis does 70% of the field work on the tree farm, using the advice of forestry consultant Jamie Wally and others. This includes jobs such as erosion control, where main farm roads have to cross streams.
I had to have something here other than that I could always depend on to get the log trucks through, so I was told if I'd put a good culvert in and put a foot of dirt on top, a log truck could go through there. So I took a day, got a neighboring farmer with his heavy equipment, and we came in one day and put this culvert in, put gravel on top of it, and it's gone through one winter, been real successful with the flow of water, and I believe it's going to serve my purpose for years to come, many years to come.
You will often see forestry technology students from Jones County Junior College on the Dennis Tree Farm. This group of students is setting up a plot for a timber cruise. E.J. Dennis lets the college use his farm as a training ground for the next generation and to promote forestry as a career.
We found out that he had quite a bit of land here that he would like for somebody to come out and look at. So it's really been a win-win for us. We have a great resource to bring our students out to get lab experience. And he has someone that can help him do different operations, prescribed burning, invasive species spraying, a lot of different things that we do for him.
In 2011, a class of students from Jones put together a written forest management plan for the land. This led to the property becoming a certified tree farm. The students continue to benefit from their access to the farm.
As a student, it's a great opportunity for us to be able to come out here and learn and study in the field of forestry and learn different practices that are put in place here, whether that be, whether we're out here cruising or prescribed burning or any acts of civiculture with land management or anything like that. It's a great place for us to be able to go. That's a private landowner that we have pretty close to the school.
The college students are also introduced to the latest technology while at the Dennis Tree Farm, such as the use of drones in forestry work. FAA-approved drone pilot Zach Brazil of Wally Forestry Consultants provides some hands-on training on drone operation. His boss, Jamie Wally, says the drone is changing how they work.
We use the drone technology to go in and monitor fire on control burns, going in monitoring southern pine beetles and, tree planting inspections, final harvest inspections, after a logging job's complete.
Allowing college students to use this tree farm as a working lab is just one example of how E.J. Dennis likes to share his property and love of tree farming with the community. He even built this pavilion near the farm entrance so he could host large events.
He and his wife, Miss Kay, they really are not stingy with their tree farm. They bring in the whole community, and that's what's so special about the Dennises, is that they share their property and their tree farm and the love of the land with the community. This is the base camp, and that's exactly what they call it, and it's actually the initials for their grandkids is what it turns out to be, but it makes a good base camp name. And this is the home spot, it sure is. So this is where they have the field days that people speak, and you can be a little bit cooler than being out in the sun. It's nice shade, and it's got a little kitchen area. And Miss Kay always puts her little touches on everything and makes it more special.
In May 2018, E.J. and Kay Dennis hosted a Jones County Forestry Association Field Day and educational program on the farm and in this pavilion. Other programs are presented throughout a typical year to various community groups. E.J. Dennis is an active member of the Mississippi Forestry Association. He is also active in the local County Forestry Association and has served as vice president and president multiple years.
He's a vital part of the Jones County Forestry Association. He's on the board there. You don't make a meeting without Mr. E.J. being there, and he's always there to help. And he very informative guy.
The primary objectives of this tree farm are wildlife management, recreation, and timber production. He's also involving the next generation of his family in the tree farm.
I have 7 grandchildren now. We have 2 or 3 ponds on this place, plenty places they can fish. They're the age now that they're able to work and do some things. They're actually the fourth generation that's worked on this property. And I'm proud to say it's the fourth generation that's been on this place.
So congratulations to E.J. Dennis, certainly active in the industry and his community.
Exactly, Mike, and he takes such great pride, as you could tell, in his land and in his relationships. Great history there. Now, next week, we'll have another kind of land story, one where history doesn't seem to matter as much. It's a battle between ranchers and the federal government. In New Mexico, ranchers won a court case against the U.S. Forest Service, but they've been fenced out of some of their land in a battle over water rights.
It's a tangled web of old laws and new regulations, a standoff between environmentalism and land use. That's next time on Farm Week.
And remember, if you miss a story, look for the past episodes of Farm Week on our website, farmweek.tv.
And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.